I'm Kylie Olsson. This is Life in Six Strings, and look who's with me. It's the incredible Tyler Bryant. How are you hanging in there?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. My guitar has been keeping me sane during lockdown, so I joined the club. I've joined the crazy guitar gang.
Good. Yeah, well, welcome to the never-ending black hole, you know?
I know. And what you got in your hands there that's not Pinky, is it?
No, I was gonna play Pinky today with you, but then I realized I broke a string on it last night when I was rocking, and I forgot about it, and I went and picked it up, and it only had 5 strings.
So it wouldn't be Life in Six Strings, it'd be Life in Five Strings.
Yeah, and it's not quite as interesting, is it? So this guitar is actually, I call this the Judge because I was serving on jury duty when I got it, and I got this little sticker from the judge of the Fifth Circuit Court in Nashville, Tennessee.
No.
So it's called, you can see up here, Judge.
Judge, I love it. That's amazing. I love that you give your guitars names. I mean, not all guitarists do that, but I mean, why did you want to do that? Do you feel like it gives you this extra connection with the instrument?
It's really just to it's really just so I can better communicate with my guitar tech Logan, because when I'm writing out set lists, it's more interesting than writing white, pink, because I got a couple of pink ones. So then he's like, well, which pink one? So we give him names so that whenever we're doing guitar changes during a show, he knows what each one is, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you've told this story before, but not all of our viewers will have heard the story. It's about Pinky. Now, is Pinky the original?
Well, so there's two, yeah. There's Pinky 1
there's
and
two, isn't there? Yes.
Yeah, and so
right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Pinky 1 was one that I got when I was 15 or 16 from Fender, and it was sort of like my dream guitar, and it got stolen from me in 2011, I believe. And 5.5 years later, I got it back. Someone found it, and they recognized it as my guitar, bought it, and mailed it to me. But in the meantime, I got Pinky 2, and that's the guitar that I did all of the AC/DC and Guns N' Roses tours with and all that stuff. So they're both special in their own way, you know?
So so you played with Jeff Beck in what, 2011, was it?
Yeah, I played with him extensively through 2011, and I believe 2012, and in 2015 as well, I think. It's been off and on throughout the years.
So, okay, so Pinky 1 and Pinky 2 would have gone along for that trip then as well.
Yeah, both of them saw a lot of old Jeff.
It's incredible. I can't believe that you play. I was looking through some of those videos actually of you playing with him, and I don't know how you did it. I mean, the way you just walked out there and you were like, yeah, I'm owning this. I mean, were you nervous? Because you didn't look it. You just looked like you were having the time of your life.
You know, I was incredibly nervous. And I think I think Jeff was such a mentor to me early on, but I remember the first show I did supporting him, I was like throwing up backstage before I went on. And I didn't care that there were 2,500 people in the audience. I cared that Jeff Beck was going to hear me play. And I was so nervous that he might not like me, because I just have so much admiration and respect for him as an artist. And so basically I was supposed to be playing acoustic on those tours, and I used to just pull out my Strat and kind of close with that so I could really rip. And I got called to his dressing room one night, and I thought I was getting kicked off the tour. I thought, like, that's it. I was supposed to play acoustic, and I didn't do that, and they're sending me home. And he was like, I wanted to ask if you wanted to jam with us tomorrow night. And I, like, inside, that's the reaction I was having. I was freaking out, but I tried to stay as calm and collected as possible, and I just said, yeah, that'd be cool. And then I went out to the car and just, like, laid down in the floorboard and just started screaming, and it was so but like I couldn't sleep. I stayed up like studying a set list, trying to learn as much material as I could, because I didn't know what song we were gonna do. And that was like,
oh no,
haunting my dreams because his songs are so incredibly intense. And then we ended up doing Higher by Sly and the Family Stone, and it was just like, it was awesome.
That's incredible. That is such a cool story. So when did this crazy journey start for you? When did you first pick up a guitar?
I picked up my first guitar when I was 7, and it didn't have 6 strings. It wouldn't have made it on this show. It had, I think, 4 or 5 strings, and it was enough for me to carry around and feel like there's a certain kind of power you feel whenever you're holding a guitar.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And the longer you play a guitar, the more that intensifies, and you start to, like, I don't feel comfortable talking to people without my guitar, you know? And I think early on that was something that I felt with the acoustic guitar, and I really started playing it around 11. But I just carried it around for years until then.
And so when did you go into electric then?
I got more into the electrics when I was 11, and that was when I had a dirt bike that I sold to get an Epiphone Les Paul. So.
Okay, sweet. That's cool. That's brilliant. It's funny that you say that about this whole thing, like you don't feel comfortable unless you've got your guitar sitting in front of you. I mean, it's an incredible instrument in that sense. It's really powerful. And I think it was Joan Jett that I was reading that she was saying that it's basically in an extension of her personality. Do you feel like there's something like that with the guitar, that you have this kind of connection that you can't really break in a weird sort of way?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's especially as I've gotten older, you know, because like when you're a kid, it's just something that makes really cool sound. And then the more time you spend with it, it becomes sort of a place that it provides this place you can go to escape the world if you need to. And for me, I think having a guitar is like, oh, cool. It doesn't matter what's going on around me. I know that I can go somewhere. You know, I can, if I'm having like a day where I'm having a panic attack or something, I can just sit down and medicate by going. You know, and it just kind of for me it just gives me a comfortable place to go. You know, so I guess it has become part of me just because I keep it around. I have guitars hanging in every room of the house just for that reason, to where it's like, you know, I'm kind of like an alcoholic living in a bar here because it's just guitars everywhere.
How many have you got then? How many do you have?
Oh man. Well, between my wife and I, yeah, we have a lot of guitars. There's probably like 50 or 60 here in our house.
Oh my God. Yeah, because she's a brilliant guitar player as well.
Yeah, she takes my guitars. That's the thing, is she takes my guitar. Like there's one guitar that she plays with Larkin Poe that I was like, hey, listen, you know, you can have this guitar as long as you're my girl. It was one of my favorite ones too, but it's hers now.
Oh my God.
I got the better end of that, I tell you what.
Oh, that's sweet. I know something that I noticed on your Instagram that you turned me on to actually was the Mule resonator guitars.
Yeah.
They look amazing and sound incredible. Is that one behind you?
No, this is actually an old National. This one is really cool. Here, I'll grab it. The Mule is downstairs in the studio, but I just got this guitar called a Mule. It's a tricone, and it's got 3 cones in it, and it is so loud, and it sounds so sick. And the coolest part about it is it's made by really cool people. These hardworking people in Michigan.
Yeah.
This one is a single cone, so it's just got one big cone that reverberates. Hey, and I wanted to tell you about this song because you're on your journey learning to play guitar.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you if anyone had taught you about open G tuning yet.
No.
Okay, so you have to listen to this song by Ray Wiley Hubbard called Open G. It explains how to tune your guitar to G and what to do and what like resonators and stuff are. It's hilarious. But
I'll check it out.
the last time we were over in France, I went over to Matt's guitar shop.
Yes, I know Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, great dude. And so
Yeah.
I went over to his shop and I used this guitar on some press that we did. And I had reached out to him about purchasing the guitar before lockdown happened and all of our shows for 2020 got canceled. So then I wrote him and said, now's not the time for me to buy that guitar. You know,
Yeah.
we gotta batten down the hatches and stuff. And, dude, the guitar showed up. He just sent it to me.
You're
So
joking.
yeah, this is a 1935 National, completely original, and it sounds unbelievable.
Oh my God. Go on then. Give us a little play. Oh my God, that's so cool. I can't believe Matt sent that to you as well. Oh my God, lucky you.
I know. I was like a kid in a candy store, you know.
Yeah, I bet you were. So I know that during lockdown, you and the boys, the shakedown, you decided to all isolate together and make an album. Is it finished?
It's done. It's mastered. It's being pressed to vinyl right now. So we kind of were at this point where we were down a man and we didn't know what to do. And so we thought, let's lean into each other. So Caleb and Graham and I, we got together and we had a discussion and we invited our longtime collaborator, Roger, to come in and just kind of, we wanted to get back to the basics of like kind of where we were when we started the band. What are our goals? And we kind of set a few goals, and it was basically just to be as loud and sonically raunchy as possible and just make it raw and edgy and live sound and fun. And so that's what we did. We made a record in 20 days. Graham played bass on one song and I played bass on the rest. And that this is the most information that we've shared about the record yet. That's how it went down, and it's my favorite Shakedown record to date.
Well, the thing that I love about you, like I love your albums, but to see you live is a different experience. Like you're actually quite punk rock, like with your attitude and the way you kind of deliver the songs. You know, you're jumping in the crowd. You've got Caleb that's like going crazy and jumping up and down on the drum. You know, it's like a proper show. It's just full on. So for you to say that you've captured that kind of live element, I think is extremely exciting. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I can't say that we've captured that element because that thing doesn't happen on live streams. It doesn't happen in the studio often. It happens when you're face to face with other humans, which is something
The audience, yeah.
I'm like, I think everyone is desperate for that right now, but I've realized through this whole thing how much I miss that and how much I get from that, because every night I'm like a massive ball of nerves before we go on stage. And then I see all of these rabid people who are just like, hey, we're here to rock. We're here to share this thing. And it fuels me, and I think this record was really fun because Caleb and Graham and I were having to fuel each other. We're having to basically try to feed off of each other and find that excitement. And we recorded the record in my basement, and it's so cool. It turned out so good.
That's great. And who wrote all the songs? Was it you guys, or did you team up with anyone else?
Yeah, no, we wrote them all. The first single is one that I wrote by myself, which it comes out next month. So I'll tell you that. And yeah, it's a lot of there's a couple we we wrote 2 songs while we were making the record with our friend Roger. And so Roger is this guy that, I mean, he's my best friend in the world. He officiated my wedding. Like but he's also, when I moved to Nashville, he was the only guy that would shoot me straight. He said, "Hey dude, listen, you play guitar good, but like everybody plays guitar good. So what's going to set you apart?" And
Okay.
so he was sort of the guy that didn't beat around the bush and said, "Hey, if you want to make a living doing this, you got to figure out what's going to set you apart." So I said, "Okay, I'll work harder than anyone else. I'm going to put together a better band than anyone else has. I'm going, and I'm basically like, he kind of helped me on my journey. And we wrote, a lot of songs he's had songs on every single Shakedown record. So we asked him if he would co-produce this one, since he's always been like a band member to us anyways.
No, and I know that again when we were talking one night, you were saying that Alice in Chains were a big influence on you, and I never heard it until your last album, your late, like the last album now, and then I heard a song on there, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, I can really hear Alice in Chains all of a sudden, and I think you sent me some stuff as well, and you were like, listen to this.
Yeah, I love Alice in Chains. They're one of my favorite bands. I have a pre-show playlist that I listen to every night, and Them Bones is one of the songs that I listen to right before walking on stage every night, because it just gets me so hyped up. It's like when I listen to that song, I feel like I could tip a car over,
I know exactly what you mean. So, you've toured with some great bands like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Jeff Beck. I mean, if you think about some of the guitarists that are in all of those bands, who sort of inspired you the most?
Jeff Beck inspired me more than anyone. This is something that I learned from, I heard Steve Lukather, who's an amazing guitarist, say. He said, it doesn't matter who you're playing with or who's playing around you, you can learn something from them. So I think all the tours that I've done, I've just tried to be a sponge, and even if you're playing with a band that you don't really like their music, there's something that you can learn from them, because we've toured with bands that you wouldn't think, oh, that's like a Guitar Hero or something, but then it's like it's like an active rock metal band or something. But then like what they're doing with their right hands and their technique, you go, oh, dude, I never heard Angus Young do that. And you can learn something from everyone. Jeff Beck's been my favorite. Angus was sick. Mike Campbell is one of my favorites. I got to play with BB King. That was a dream come true, because like when I grew up, I was listening to so it's like I've been very fortunate to get to share stages with my heroes and try to learn as much as I can.
You live in Nashville, but you were from Texas, aren't you? That's where you grew up. So were you listening to the blues when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I was just inhaling the blues as much as I could. I was sucking it in and holding my breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But so did you have lessons then?
Well, so I've got this tattoo on my arm of this guy named Roosevelt Twitty, and he was a man that I met in a music store, and he was sitting there playing the blues, and it was the first time I'd heard the blues, and I walked over just mesmerized, and I heard him playing, and I said, "Can I play with you?" And he said, "Do you know how to play the blues?" And I said, "Well, what is that?" And he said, "I'll teach you." And so he became my best friend, and I started going over to his house pretty much every day after school. He lived about 22 miles from me, and he wasn't classically trained. He didn't know what any of the names of the chords he played were. I mean, he knew like the basic stuff, but it was very like just instinctual for him, and it was coming from his heart and his soul, and it was part of who he was. And I was so enamored with that, and basically just through watching him, I became determined to make it part of who I was too. And luckily he was kind enough to create an environment for me to sit and play in where I wasn't afraid to mess up. Because it would just be he and I sitting in his dark apartment, and he'd say, just close your eyes and feel the music.
Oh, wow.
And so I would go up and start to, you know, and I would just try and find my way. And one day it started to click, and he and I started booking shows together, and the local newspaper started calling us the Blues Buddies.
The Blues Buddies, that's brilliant. So is there any kind of tips that you can give me or something you can show me that's kind of going to help me on my journey of trying to master this thing?
Yeah. So what have you been working on lately?
What have I been working on? Well, I do all my chords every day. I go through all my chords and stuff like that. And then I do scales, like the, what is it? What is it?
Cool. Okay. So one of the things that I would like to teach you is something that I learned from Jeff Beck.
Okay.
And so it's basically you're the boss of the guitar when you're playing it.
Yeah.
And you're always a half note or a half step or so from the right note. So like you just did that scale that, let's see. Like, so for example, if you went, you can always kind of find your way out of a situation. Like with the shakedown, a lot of times if I'm soloing an E like that, I'll just, and I'll bend up to the note. I'm just going to whatever note I land on. And I know that I'm a half step away from something that could work. And you can either slide up to it, bend up to it. These are a few tips that I would recommend for soloing. And I don't know how far along you are with your journey, but repetition.
I'm about 4 months in.
Oh my God! Well, you know a lot for 4 months. So these are things to remember whenever you get to soloing. It's repetition is key. Like guys like Chuck Berry who are going. Because it becomes hypnotic, and it doesn't sound like you're doing a whole lot, but you're doing a whole lot, you know?
Okay, that's good. That's good advice, because yeah, when I've been doing, so my guitar teacher's been, you know, teaching me the scales, and then he's like, oh, if you're doing like a, can't remember what this one's called, but like a, oh, I always get that one, whatever that one is.
Yep.
Is it A? I think no, A's up here, isn't it? That is an E. I think it might be an E, isn't it? Anyway, whatever that one is, he's like, you can basically then just do the scale and then add a chord in.
Yeah.
And then.
And see, this would be my other advice. So whatever your guitar teacher teaches you, learn it, and then figure out how you would hear it. You know, like it's sort of the thing of like, once you kind of learn exactly what he teaches you, whether it be then go, how do I hear that? You know, and kind of playing around with the notes, doing different orders of the notes. So if the scale is, then you can go, that's the repetition, and then you can incorporate some bending, and you can flex the timing to where you're not just going, you can kind of and
some emotion in there, yeah.
Yeah, you just got to think about what kind of emotion you want to get across, and
oh my God, Tyler, I'm actually embarrassed playing in front of you.
you got to check this record out. I just got to plug this. It's this guy named Mike Seal, and he released this acoustic record for all of you like muso guitarists. I forget what the record's called, but if you search Mike Seal on Spotify, it's an incredible album. He's one of those players that like I watch, and most guitar players, I can watch them and figure out what they're doing. But when I watch Mike, I can't figure it out because he's doing as much with his right hand as he is with his left hand.
Oh, really?
It's really full on.
Is he on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Seal.
Yeah.
And so is he's your brother? No, he's not your brother-in-law. No, he's your...
Yeah, he's my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
So I've been trying to get him to like give me guitar lessons essentially because he's a freakazoid player.
But he won't give away any tricks. He's keeping them all for himself.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. It's unbelievable though.
Okay, I'll check him out. That's cool. That's a good one.
This is a funny story. I took Mike to meet Jeff Beck last time Jeff was in Nashville.
Yeah.
And we took I begged Mike. I was like, bring one of your CDs to give to Jeff because he'll think it's hilarious. And the cover has these flowers on it. And he gave it to Jeff, and Jeff was like, oh, it looks like this picture of. Look at this picture on my phone, and it was a pic. Jeff had a bloody nose, and it was a picture of all of his like bloody nose like Kleenexes, and it looked just like the album cover.
That's great. Did Jeff listen to the album? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Listen, Tyler, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Lots of tips there. What was the name of that song? The open tuning, the open G. What was it called?
It's called Open G.
Open G, right? I'll have a listen.
I just stumbled on this song recently, and so this is the other thing. I don't think Ray Wiley Hubbard is well known in the UK.
No.
He's like a treasure in America, and he just released this record that I recorded 2 of the songs with him on, and he had a couple of other like little artists on there like Ringo Starr and Joe Walsh and these up and comers, you know.
Yeah.
But he is this like old Texan legend, and he wrote that song about open G, and I heard it and I thought about you because I thought if you haven't learned to play an open G yet, that's your introduction. Okay, brilliant. I can't wait to listen to it. Oh my God. Okay, cool. Well, listen, Tyler, take care of yourself, and let's keep in touch, and hopefully I'll see you out there on the road soon. Sounds like a plan. Take care. You too. Bye. See ya.